Hi, friends. I'm with George Cordoba, another survivor, cancer survivor. He will explain all this story. He did a lot of things, allopathic things I never did. So he's still here too, and his story is very interesting. Please, George, go.
Good morning. Good morning. Yes, thank you for inviting me, by the way. It's an honor to be here and sharing with you. And yeah, I'm a survivor of an advanced melanoma with metastases of 8 tumors in my brain.
So you had stage 4 cancer.
It was stage 4. It all started, my first lesion was up on my head. I had long hair, so tennis player, surfer, always in the sun. But later on, I found out that also melanoma, it can come from emotional issues. I had just lost my mother from lung cancer. She was a heavy smoker 3 weeks before my diagnosis. And so that was in 2002. It's just, as you know, as a survivor, nobody wants to hear. It is really shocking to hear that you have been diagnosed with cancer. At the time that I was diagnosed, all my children, we have 5 children, they're men and women now. They were small. My daughter, the only daughter, was 7 years old, and then we have 4 boys, and the oldest was 14. So that added a little bit of stress into the whole roller coaster emotional experience, thinking, well, what's going on? What's going to happen if I would leave? But that was the last time really that I thought about not beating this advanced melanoma. So I started my journey like many people, I went straight to, we have doctors in the family, so I went straight to a doctor. I was recommended a very, very successful doctor in, if it's okay, I say names, Dr. Moffitt. Frederick Moffitt was a surgeon oncologist that first operated me. But before that, thanks to having family doctors in the family, I was the lady that actually did the biopsy for me in my scalp was a dermatologist, and she encouraged me to contact one or 2 doctors, Dr. Moffitt in the Sylvester Cancer Center in Miami, or Dr. Edward. Gosh, I forgot his last name now. A Hebrew person, Jewish boy. I'll remember his name. He's one of the top dermatologist surgeons in Miami. Now he's in Hollywood. He's the first one that actually extracted with margins the lesion in my head. And himself said, hey, you need to see Dr. Moffitt. He's an amazing surgeon. And that's how the journey started. And it's taking, this journey was 10 surgeries total in 10 years, including 4 craniotomies and 2.
Please, I have a question. Why? Because cancer, you had recurrence?
Yes, I had recurrence, and I'll tell you what I found out about recurrence. Today, I'm
continue.
I continue
your story, and after we speak of.
Okay, good. So yes, it was because I had recurrence. So at the end of the day, it was 10 years and 10 surgeries. The first 7 years, I was the normal person that had all this programming since we were little, to go to an oncologist, to go and get treated there. I have to say that the folks at the University of Miami, or especially the Sylvester Cancer Center, are really top notch. The oncologist I had came from Anderson Clinic, and his wife was doing research of all these melanoma tumors. She was actually dedicated for that. So I every single surgery, I donated my tumors. But on year seven, I decided that, you know, this traditional stuff was not working for me, and I'm a person of faith.
Please, why you say that?
Because of the recurrences, and melanoma is very aggressive. I don't know if people know this, but it's a very aggressive type of cancer. It's unpredictable still today. You know, 19 years later, 20 years later, 21 years later, and so I just thought, well, I'm not going to spend the rest of my life like that. I was always strong. I'm an athlete. Like I say, I play tennis here in the United States to play for NCAA tennis. And pues, you know, I just always was training, running, and I had some nutrition abilities at those days. I studied a minor in nutrition just for tennis competition. So I had some stuff in me that I could use. And like I say, I'm a person of faith. I just never thought that this thing was going to meet me. So at year seven, almost year eight, I was just about to have my eighth surgery, which was going to be one of the craniotomies. After that craniotomy, I decided, you know, to take the natural route. I went to heal myself, and so that's what I did. I was lucky, really. I one of my angels, I would say, was my oncologist, Dr. Fon, because I talked to him and I explained that I just wanted to stop and try a different alternative. He asked me if I was sure. He says, "Are you sure, Georges?" And I said, "Yes, I am, doctor, but I would like to continue, for you to continue to help me out with follow-up tests and just, you know, just going with the protocol of being taking care of me without the meds." And he agreed. He said, "Okay, and if you ever want to you know, start again, you just let me know." But so I started my holistic journey, as I called, and
Can I ask you?
Yes.
Where you find what you did and what you did?
Okay. Yeah, and it is interesting that you asked that. I also wrote a book about all this, and it became a bestseller in Amazon. It's called "Beating the Odds: My Journey Through Holistic."
I will put the link. I already.
Oh, okay. Okay. So what I did is, when you look, when you seek, you find. And I was, with my faith, I knew that everything I prayed for people to, you know, surface on my life. And by the way, when I was having the surgeries, the people that all the guys that were there, the anesthesiologists, nurses, they were people of God. I mean, I was surprised of all the blessings I was receiving. And then in the moment that I was contemplating and praying about it, about stopping this stuff, remember, there's a lot of fear because our minds go to what is familiar. And for me, familiar was going to an oncologist. My family, there was cancer in my family, which today I find out that it has nothing to do with epigenetics. Is showing that it's not hereditary, but nevertheless, I just one day my best friend's wife, which was always since she was 20, early 20s, a person of yoga and you know, just very good nutrition and all this stuff. She called me and she says, "Hey, Georges, Thomas is telling me that you're thinking and you're gonna stop all these traditional treatments. I have somebody that I would love you to go see." And this is for people in North South Florida. This person was in Pompano Beach, and his name was Dr. Tonsky, naturopath. He was actually a chemical engineering, but ended up being in the nature and not in this stuff. And he had an amazing protocol. I went to see him, and after I talked to him, the first thing we talked was about, he told me, is that I was probably very inflamed in my body. He explained that all diseases, and I have now colleagues and holistic doctors that say, unless it's an accident, all disease starts because the patient has a very acidic body, inflammation in the body. And yeah, and so that made sense, so much sense for me. He explained the whole thing about balancing my pH levels, and he's saying that if disease cannot grow or start in a body that is balanced, in a body that is not inflamed. So that's what we worked on. We worked on it's like 21 days. He actually did a scan, but it's a non-invasive scan. It was based on this equipment that he got from, I think it was Germany or Switzerland, and it was not approved by the FDA. Dr. Tonsky, by the way, bless his soul, he passed three years ago, but this is 18 years ago when I saw him, and so he was showing me in the screen with the software how inflamed I was. I mean, my body inside looked like a carnival, like a 4th of July of lights and stuff. And he was pointing out, he says, probably the chemo and probably the doctor was telling you to eat whatever.
Please,
so you don't lose weight.
please, you never said that you made chemo.
Oh, yes. Oh,
Please
yes.
try to not forget anything. If you
Okay.
did chemo, if you did radiotherapy, everything you did, and with
Yes.
date. Okay?
For sure, Zach. Yes, the first thing when they realized that it was positive, and I had Dr. Moffat ordered actually, I already had Dr. Fond, he ordered a sentinel biopsy on me because it was right here on top of my, let me see if I can show it, but it was right up here. And so they wanted to do the sentinel biopsy just to see where it drained, and so they could guess if the disease would drop from there. So that's how all started, and it went to my right side. And this is after I had my first incision from Dr. Eduardo Weiss was his last name, is his last name, Edward Weiss in Hollywood. So he actually saw the two doctors and said, man, these guys are really good. I mean, Dr. Moffat. And so I started my chemo after my first surgery, which was they extracted 23 lymph nodes from my right side. And there were 3 lymph nodes that were stuck on my neck. So they decided to remove a muscle to take those 3, and those 3 were positive. The other 20 were negative. And then right after that, they put me on chemo. And like many people, I just follow, like if I was a little, lamb, just following whatever they told me. I really had no power I gave all my power to the doctors, like many people do. Which, by the way, if I may, that was a mistake, and thank God I realized it. Not because they're trying, but it's not for me. It wasn't working, let's say, and so I stayed on chemo for 6 months, and then I had this lymph node on top of my ear on the other side, and so they biopsied it, and it was positive. So they extracted 22 lymph nodes on my left side. I have I look like an atlas with my scars. But anyway, from there, those 22, thank God they didn't have to take off any muscles, and 2 of them were positive. So they changed the chemo. They changed to another, another form of chemo, interferon at that time. They were experimenting. One of the things that people don't know, Zach, is that, in this situation in medicine, in terms of treatments, it's trial and error. So they say, okay, FDA approved this. Let's try now interferon. And then they put me on that for a while. It went into remission again. And all of a sudden it came again. So now another surgery. And that was really the pattern, until I was on surgery 7. And then that was clear according to the PET scans and MRIs and all this stuff. And 3 months later, I was playing tennis and I had this terrible headache. Terrible.
Did you eat?
Okay. It was all based on, he gave me probiotics and prebiotics in liquid. I had to mix this drops in water. Okay. And then he gave me a book where it was all plant-based, just at the beginning. Juicing was one thing that really helped me a lot. And so obviously they say the faith without action is dead. This is in the Torah, and it's also in the New Testament. And I put my faith into action. So not only what Dr. Tonsky told me, but I bought some books on juicing for life, anti-cancer stuff. And so I asked him, he says, oh yeah, juicing, do that as much as you can. So I really, the first 3 weeks, it was 80% juicing, different types of juices. I wrote a little book about an ebook on top of my book. It's called A Balanced pH in Your Health. And I have a lot of the stuff that he suggested, plus I learned from other cancer survivors, from you guys, also from you particularly. I'm open always to learn more so I can help my clients. So, but it was all plant-based. The juicing, I even had juicing for relaxing at night. A powerful ones with the juicer was celery, apple, and carrot. And that one, it would actually calm me down before going to sleep.
Raw.
Yes, raw. Yeah, everything was raw. That's good. Thank you. Yes. At that time, especially, like I said, the first 21 days, and that was proven that really helped me. And today, when I have a new client, a new patient, I put them on something very similar for 15 days. I start really with 9-10 days, because for some people it's a shock. For me, it wasn't. I just said, let's do it. So I put them in for a little bit so they can get used to it. The stress of buying the stuff. I mean, it's a lifestyle change for many. And so, but okay, once they get to
go back,
okay.
Please. You was during a certain time eating or drinking juice, and after that continue. And
yes, on the second. I
would like to know how you recover.
Yeah. Okay. So on the second 21 days, it was basically the same thing, but I could actually, I in my case, I had a little chicken and fish, and I would mix it with still raw stuff, with a salad, with green asparagus, and then little by little.
How many times you ate during the day?
I ate 3 times a day, and then what? Yeah, and then and then as a snack, sometimes in the evening, I just had a little soup and then another juice. Juicing was 3 juices at least a day.
Okay.
And I continued to do that for.
Okay, and this was how long ago?
Oh, this is by now. This was on 2008 that I started doing all that stuff.
and how long it takes to see your cancer disappear?
Well, it really, they couldn't find anything else when I started that until a year and a half later, where I had, actually, no, it was in 2012. So for 4 years, I was fine, no chemo, nothing. And then there were two lesions in my glutes area in my butt, and so they removed them, and they asked me, "Do you want to do targeted?"
So another surgery.
No, well, in that case, one of them, they suggested surgery. Anytime that I was able to psychologically that they were going to remove it, I said yes. So they took it. They took one of them out. The other one, they just watched it and left. I would not be surprised that the other one would have been gone as well, because my body had no inflammation. Melanoma, though, didn't want to leave. And so finally, that was in July 2012. They removed that tumor, and in this case was Dr. Thomas Temple. Dr. Moffat had retired. So he's the one that took he was one of the surgeon oncologists, and still is, I believe. I think he left, but in Sylvester Cancer, and I was operated at the University of Miami Hospital. And he told me, I remember this, I think I have it on the book, that he says, well, that's it, right? You're not going to have another one. I said, never. And that was July 2012. So this July, it would be 11 years cancer-free. And but I never changed my diet. I accommodated a little bit. Sometimes in my case, I have animal protein, but maybe I would just say 3 times a year, if I really want to. But I make sure, and this is something very important for people to know, it's all about having a balanced pH plate. If you're going to have something that is acidic, make sure that you combine it in your plate with something that will alkaline that acidity. So I have this table. Where I show my clients, hey, look, these are all the, this is everything, from apples to fish to nuts to everything. It'll tell you what's acidic, what's not, and I help them create plates that are balanced. You have to definitely.
Yes. Can you send me this list?
Oh, yes, for sure. I mean,
like this, we will give this list to our subscribers.
Absolutely. And I'll share my ebook on the pH balance to you, and you do whatever. Like I told you yesterday, just like you, my goal, I mean, I switched careers. I was an executive in technology, a CTO. At the age of 57, I decided to stop and go as a coach. I prepared myself. I'm a functional nutritionist today, and I'm a holistic transformational coach. And I help people that are going through the disease or the threat of it. And I just, I work with them and I help them transform their health and vitality. And I've had some great, right now, I don't promote myself. I get discovery sessions from referrals or from when I'm in a podcast or I do speak. Sometimes people ask me to speak, and so I've been doing that also a little bit as a professional. But my main thing is helping folks, to transform their health, understanding that they have the power. But the one thing too, Zach, is that it was not only what I ate. Okay. I want to explain something as a functional nutrition. 25% of our digestion is what we eat. 75% is who we are when we're eating. Are we eating in a hurry? Are we eating really fast, 10-minute meal when it should be a 25-minute meal? The average American right now chews 4 to 6 times before they swallow. So they're already interrupting the right process, the correct process of digestion. So the people need to understand that. I teach them how to eat mindfulness. Be thankful for the food. Just drop your utensils after every bite. Chew at least 20 times, 20 to 30 times, because digestion starts in your mouth. The saliva enzymes are really where digestion starts, and the stomach is expecting you to send something through the esophagus that is already processed. And so by not doing that, everything is, out of whack already. So
But
that is
now,
important.
since 2012, you are cancer-free.
Yes.
Completely cancer-free.
Completely. And the last scan I did was 3 years ago. I just 2 years ago. It was in 2021, because I was still in Miami. I moved out of the state. I'm in the state of New Mexico now. And my family, everybody, hey, you haven't done this in 6 years. Just get yourself a scan. And so I did it for them, and it was clear. By the way, that day I went to see Dr. Fan and his assistant. And I took 2 signed books and donated it to them, thanking them, because they were really on top of everything. But there, a lot of people have the myth that we're gonna be cured by them, and it's that one of the cures is up there, and there are other alternatives. They only know and do what they learn, and there's other stuff going on in there that I'm not in agreement with. So that really helped me to just stop and
Another question. Your
Yes.
hair, you don't, it's at purpose, or it doesn't come back?
Yeah, it's a little bit of both. I was losing my hair at the time. When I started, I lost my hair with especially with the radiotherapy. But then my daughter, which is the only girl we have, she's the youngest, Claudia, she said, Dad, don't let it grow. You look good. I mean, it's the thing now. So I never let it grow. So now if I let it grow, I have I have this a big thing here that it doesn't grow. So I just said, I keep it like that. I shave it, and yeah. But part of it was because I lost it. After I lost it with my the radiotherapy, I decided, I listened to my daughter, and said, just, I'm not gonna let it grow, and that was it. And the thing is, I also went to see Dr. Weiss just to say hi. And also my son needed to have a biopsy, and so when he heard, I went with Thomas, my son, and he saw the last name, and he goes, "Oh, are you related to Georges Cordova?" He said, "Yeah, he's my dad. He's outside." So he came out, and he asked me how long it's been. He said, at that time, it's been 19 years since you took this stuff out of me. And he goes, wow. So he turned around and told his staff, hey guys, come and meet this miracle. Here's a miracle, because they see it that way.
Not a miracle. It's absolutely not a miracle.
No, and then they tell you spontaneous remission. I don't agree with that. I'm cancer free. Yeah. So I kept going then on my natural route. 2 years after I started that, I had those 2 last tumors in my gluteus area. And the way I saw it is, well, there was some residual there that was really strong and held on. But the other thing too, Zach, is that I worked, and this is what I do, holistic well-being. I use this metaphor of a table with 4 legs. If one of the legs is not there, you cannot eat on the table. And so, and those 4 legs are your physical self, your emotional self, your mental self, and your spiritual self. And so my program covers, it's a 3 months program, and we work on each of those legs of the table, because the reason I think I was getting recurrences all the time was because I was not, the root cause was not eradicated, and for me it was stuff that I had emotionally, and that actually, even though you think it's somewhere in a drawer inside of you, it's still producing cortisol, stress, your sympathetic system. You're eating fast. I was always my career, this, then a CTO, all the stuff. It's really what gets you sick, and it manifests in a chronic disease, which in this case, cancer is. I tell people, I did a talk in March, and that was the last time I did a research. Almost 50% of our nation is sick with 1 or 2 chronic diseases. This is crazy. And cancer, it's up there. It's slowly but surely becoming the #1 killer in the world.
It's a metabolic disease.
Yes, sir. And so, but it's the mental part. I did a lot of visualization. I used to, once I knew where the tumors were, from the scans and stuff, I would close my eyes and do visualization. I would imagine, and the mind does what you think, what you feel, and what you see. And so that's a rule of the mind, and it's powerful, and we don't use it so much. And so I did a lot of visualization. Just for example, in my case, I would see this beautiful holy light coming in from my head and just throwing the stuff away, melting it away. I also use this game that I used to play as a kid, Pac-Man, and it was a thing that I would go and follow the little creatures and kill them. So I would see that. I would let them go loose and eat all the tumors, and all the stuff worked. And
absolutely.
yes,
The mindset. When
yes,
you are sure you will kill your cancer is already dead.
yes, absolutely. And you have to say it in the present moment. That's what I teach my clients. When we do these affirmations, it's not "I will be fit." No, then you are accepting that you're not cured. I am cured now. I am cancer free. I am, and like that. I use the Moses Code affirmations that I learned from this Jewish guy, doctor. He's a doctor, and he had an amazing experience with his wife, and he actually did a research to see what kind of music they were playing in Moses's time. Okay.
Thanks, George, for what you are doing, for what you did. And I would like, if you can help people with me, with our team, it will be a pleasure to have you in our team.
Oh, likewise. And I'm honored that you invited me. I followed you several times, and I said, well, let me just contact them and see if we can do something. Definitely would be great. I appreciate you having me on your podcast, and I'm very grateful for that. I had to say one last thing with the in terms of it's called command cell therapy. And it has to do with this new stuff that Dr. Lipton found with epigenetics, and it's so powerful because, again, it's you yourself from your subconscious mind. You're commanding your body. You're commanding your body to just kill these things that are in there that are not supposed to be, and it happens. If you like, one of the things that I do is I create a recording from a client, and I ask them to do it for at least 21 days, at least once a day, if they can, two. I learned from Dr. Tonsky when we did the 21-day detox program twice, two phases. And he said, you start changing mental habits and habits itself. Within 21 days, you already started that process of creating a new habit. And if you make it a habit to use the power of your mind, whether you're going to cancer or not, obviously prevention is really what we're talking about here. But if you are in there, command cell therapy, which I use it, it's so powerful. And there's testimonials of clients that I currently have, and they've been asked the same thing. I don't know what you're doing, but keep doing it. But I have to say, though, that my biggest challenge, and I don't push anyone, I respect that, is to, a lot of people are so attached to what they're familiar, which is going to do the traditional stuff, that they stay there. So I end up agreeing to basically say, okay, that's fine, but then let's use your mind. When every time they give you chemo, just let's play with it and say, this is destroying and my bad cells, and then what we're going to work on is going to protect the good cells. And so it is something that is just starting, and I'm so honored to having met you and see the work that you do, and that, yes, anything that I can do, I would love to help you guys. And
Thank
with
you.
that,
But you know that we are a non-profit Florida.
yes.
So we don't ask any money to
No,
anybody.
no worries. I agree with you. I have to say this. I do once a year. Last year I broke my rule. I did three pro bono coaching programs for 3 different people that could not afford it, and that's why I'm putting together the online coaching program so people can afford it. And I'm going to raise my fee to go more, let's say, VIP, and then really worried about helping all these people that are going to sign up for the course, being in QA every week for 90 minutes. And then, if we have an opportunity to do stuff together, go and visit you in Jupiter, that will be great. We could put together talks, and you let me know. I can help you. I have many ideas and stuff like that. So
thank you very much. You say Jorge?
Yeah, you can. Well, this is very good that you asked this. My real name, my mother was Greek and my father from Madrid, and because she studied in a French school before they went to Venezuela. I was born in Venezuela. She studied in a French school, and so she called me Georges, George with an S at the end, Georges. And my sister, Sophia, which is another common name in Greece, she's Sophie. It's Sophie. But in Venezuela, everybody called me Jorge. So I play the piano, and if I make a mistake, or I'm playing tennis and I make a mistake and I get mad at myself, I say, Jorge, why did you do that? That's really my name in my heart. But my real name, as you'll see in the book, is Georges.
Okay. Thank you very much, Georges, then, and we will speak later together.
Yes. So thank you very much, and God bless you.
Bye-bye.
Take care.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.